start our time together with a land acknowledgement. And I'm going to be sharing a new one that I think directly calls us to action, in addition to acknowledging the Indigenous and the Indigenous people who are stewards of the land. So this land acknowledgement comes from the SpeakOut Summer Institute in Marquette University's Office of Diversity and Inclusive Excellence. I want to take a moment to reflect on the lands on which we reside. We are coming from many places, and we want to acknowledge the ancestral homelands and traditional territories of Indigenous peoples who have been here since time immemorial, and to recognize that we must continue to build our solidarity and kinship with Native peoples across the Americas and across the globe. We acknowledge that Marquette University is on the traditional homelands of the Menominee, Potawatomi, and Ho-Chunk Indian nations, who have known this land as relative for millennia and who remain our hosts on it. We honor and acknowledge the land and life of Indigenous people, past, present, and future. As all of our liberation is tied together, and so is our history, we also acknowledge that this country was built up from the free enslaved labor of Black people, and we honor the legacy of the African diaspora. We pay respects to Black life, knowledge, and skills stolen due to violence and white supremacy. With this acknowledgement, we also recognize a duty to give honor through our work and continue to stand up for racial and social justice every day. So as director of the Trinity Fellows Program, that is the land acknowledgement that we use before every reflection that we host, and what we share with our fellows at the beginning of the program. Because it not only provides context, but also pulls you in as an active participant. And speaking to the theme of today, the notion of knowing land as relative, and building with solidarity and kinship, I think is a really key words and key concepts to keep in mind through our time together today. A brief reflection I want to offer before we get moving comes from Parker Palmer, which some of you may know. He is a master teacher rooted in the Quaker tradition, actually lives in Madison, Wisconsin, has written many, many books on contemplation and daily life, on teaching, and does a lot of retreats and community building work. And he has an article that speaks to differentiating between old and new ways of thinking about community, which I think provides some important questions and things to get us moving in our minds. So I'll just go through this list to get us started. So an old way of thinking about community is that community is a goal. A new way of thinking about community is that community is a gift. The old says that we achieve community through desire, design, and determination. A new way is that we receive community by cultivating a capacity for connectedness. An old way of thinking is that community requires a feeling of intimacy. A new way says that community does not depend on intimacy and must expand to embrace strangers, even enemies, as well as friends. I feel like those were words directly taken from Jesus. An old way of thinking is that community is a romantic Garden of Eden. The new way of community is that community can withstand hard times, and conflict can help us become not just happy, but at home. An old way of thinking about community: leadership is not needed in communities. A new way: leadership and the authority to lead toward community can emerge from anyone in the organization. And finally, an old way of thinking about community is that suffering is bad and should be avoided. A new way, particularly important in our current moment: suffering lets our hearts break open, enough to hold both a vision of hope and the reality of resistance without tightening like a fist. And I think that image of holding something tightly in a fist versus opening your palm to receive and to give is a powerful symbol of an invitation to approach community, and how I think both Ignatian spirituality and the yogic tradition encourage us to remain open and present. And so as I began to think about this particular session, the word that came to my lips often was presence in the context of Ignatian spirituality and yoga. Yoga certainly is a practice that encourages you to be present with what is, with what's emerging in the body and the mind, and allowing it to be, no matter what it is, without judgment. In Ignatian spirituality, especially thinking about the life of Jesus and the compassion with which he lived, I think sometimes compassion is maybe not the accurate word, because it seems that he felt so strongly that he almost was one. He was in solidarity with those who suffered, and therefore was able to be present in a way that I don't think many of us have ever been able to achieve with another person. And to really build community, that aspect of presence is a skill, a lifelong practice, and such a gift when you receive that presence from somebody else, but also when you're able to give that presence to somebody else. And it requires a discipline, which from the yogic tradition, there's a word called tapas. It requires fortitude and awareness to set aside our own needs, desires, attachments, so that we can really use our full senses and full self to behold another. To set aside things that might cause us anger or fear, and to just listen with open ears and open heart, and to be generous. So I think gratitude in the context of community, at least from my vantage point and perhaps from yours, is that translates into generosity. That could be time, talent, treasure, or other gifts that we want to share. So with the spirit of generosity and of giving and of presence, I invite you to settle into a comfortable seat. So if you're on a chair, make sure that you're feeling supported, and particularly that your feet are rooted down and grounded. So if you're short like I am, and I can't sit all the way back because then I'll be up on my tiptoes, so I like to scoot a little forward so my feet can really be grounded. And let your spine grow tall and long. Allow your shoulders to just drop down your back. Relax your jaw so that your lips are gently parted. And if it's comfortable, close your eyes. Breathing in, allow yourself to breathe your body in, and then let your body breathe you. And just stay with your breath for a few moments as you let the pull of the world release. So with every inhale, inviting divine presence, inviting God, inviting spirit or source to expand within you and to anchor you. And with every exhale, try to release that pull of your calendar, of your to-do list, of the things that may be waiting for you after this, the pull of expectations and of attachments. Invite presence. Can you be fully present to what is arising? And note gratitude for every breath that you take. And as you note gratitude, start to become aware of gratitude for relationships in your life, for community, for people that you consider your community. So your family, whether biological or chosen, your friends, and try to expand that out to include even those that you might not be intimate with or close, but are part of your lived experience. So your neighborhood, the people who live on your street, the city that you live in, or the town, including even those people that you might have a challenging relationship with or don't know. And holding that gratitude, take a moment or two to just review the events of this morning that led you to this moment, particularly the moments where you felt connection to others. How did you feel? What happened? And then alternatively, thinking about the moments where you maybe missed connections, where maybe your fear or anger or busyness prevented you from beholding, from being present, from connecting or engaging. And what did those moments feel like? What did those moments imbue to you? What reflection or meaning can you derive from those moments? And taking another breath or two, settling in with the intention of presence as we move through our practice. I'll invite you to perhaps blink your eyes open and just gently drop your neck, drop your chin to your chest. Hands can rest gently in your lap, and just gently rock your head from side to side. And as you do, invite the shoulders to start dropping even further, even further than you think they can go. And maybe you roll up so that your left ear rests over your left shoulder. Maybe your gaze is up towards the ceiling, and then roll your head over to the other side, right ear above right shoulder. Again, maybe gaze up. And one more time each side. Rolling and rolling over to the right. Nice, and then gently come back up. Take those shoulders up to the ears and down. Let's do that 2 more times, up and back. Up and back, and then forward. Up and forward, one more time, up and forward. And then bring your hands onto your knees. And with an exhale, draw your belly button in, round your spine, maybe gaze down towards your belly. And as you inhale, push your chest through, arch your back, maybe lift your gaze up. Seated cat-cow, exhale. And inhale, pull the chest through, arch spine, lift gaze up, open front side of body. One more time, exhale, round, opening to the back of your body. Inhale, pulling through, opening the heart. Lovely. So if you're not in a chair, I'm assuming you're sitting on your mat. So from here, we're going to take our right arm either to, I have a chair that has an armrest, so I'm actually going to rest my right forearm on the armrest. Inhaling your left arm up and exhale over to the right. And I guess I should have said this at the beginning, but if you're in an office chair that has wheels, I highly recommend you locking the chairs, just because we don't want you rolling away. Although who knows what you'll bump into, right? Inhale, coming back up, long spine, and bring your left forearm onto the armrest, or you can grab either the arm, or maybe you can reach down and grab the leg. Inhaling your right arm up towards the ceiling, and exhale, lean over to the left. Lovely. And then coming back up, release your hands. We're going to take a twist to the right. So inhale, long spine. And as you exhale, start to twist to the right. You can bring your left hand to the outside of your right knee. Maybe take your right hand back behind you. Or you can take both hands to the chair arm, or maybe even the back of the chair, depending on how deep you want to go. And keeping the spine long, with every exhale, twisting a little bit more, and with every inhale, growing taller. And pausing here to let whatever is arising, just let it be. And slowly exhale, release. And we'll take it to the other side. So inhale to a tall, long spine. Exhale, twisting over to the left. So right hand can come to outside of left knee. You can grab the chair arm with the left hand, or you can bring both hands to the chair arm, or even reach to the back of the chair. And again, inhale, long spine, exhale to twist. And as you twist, gently draw your belly button in and up, and you're twisting from the thoracic spine. So that middle part of your back is where the twist is really happening. Nice. And then slowly release, come back to center. Keeping your right knee bent and your right foot on the floor. Extend your left leg long and bring your heel down so that your foot is flexed, your toes are up in the air, your heel is on the floor, kind of in this lunge-y position. And on your exhale, bring your hands to cup onto your right thigh. And exhale, just gently fold until you start to feel sensation in the back of your left hamstring. Maybe the lower back starts to turn on, maybe the calf. And if it doesn't feel good to flex your left toes, you can font them, as some people call point and flex, or just relax them. And then slowly come up. Taking your left knee into your hands, cross your left ankle over your right knee into a sort of figure 4 shape. And this might feel like something already. So you're welcome to just stay here, spine tall, maybe hands resting on your shin. Or if you like, you can start to fold forward. So this is seated pigeon, a nice opener for your hips. And if you sit a lot, this is just a really nice thing to do a couple times a day. You might even bring your forearms down onto your left calf. Or if you have the range of motion, I am pretty tight today, so I'm not going to do all the way, but you might be able to fold so far that your fingers touch the floor. I'm sitting a lot like most of us, so my hips are pretty tight. I'm gonna stay here. And just breathing into any spaces of tension. Of course, if you feel pain, please back up. But if it's feeling, maybe a little discomfort, but can you sit with that discomfort? What a powerful lesson that our bodies can teach us. And then slowly come back up. Draw your left knee into your chest and just give it a squeeze. Maybe take an ankle circle or 2. And then release your left foot down. Keeping that left foot on the floor, the left knee is bent. Extend your right leg out and long. So your right heel is planted, your right toes are up in the air. If flexing the foot feels good. And then interlacing your fingers is how I prefer to do this, but you can simply just rest them on your left thigh. Exhale to just gently come forward. Again, feeling some sensation in the back of the right leg. Breathing here, remaining present. And also with a sense of compassion that starts with self but can extend outwards. Slowly inhale, come back up, grab underneath your right knee, cross your right ankle on top of your left knee. So figure 4, seated pigeon again, and feel free to just stay upright, spine long, or maybe you start to fold forward, maybe forearms come onto the right calf, or maybe you have the range of motion to really fold and bring your hands to the floor. And what yoga teaches us is that as we're able to sit with discomfort in ourselves, that's a practice we can take off the mat, and so we can sit with discomfort that is external to us, or sit with other people's pain and suffering and be a steady presence. Slowly inhale to come back up. Draw your right knee into your chest, give it a squeeze, take an ankle circle or 2, one direction and then the other, and release. And open the feet a little wide, maybe turn the toes outward. And just a simple exhale, forward fold. And you can take this as far as you want. So you can bring your forearms to your thighs and keep your chest slightly lifted. Or maybe you want to bring your chest down and maybe rest your hands on the mat. Let the gaze go between your legs and the head and the neck release. And then slowly come back up. Bring the feet back together, and I'll invite you to stand and then turn to face the front of your chair. So now I'm going to push this chair out of the way. Come to my second chair. You don't need a second chair. And we're going to move through a few supported sun salutations, doing the first two as a half salutations, and then if you wish, we'll do 2 full salutations with the chair. And again, if you're on your mat, just do a sun salutation as you normally would without a chair. So on your inhale, lift both arms up over your head. And as you root down through feet, feel that grounding as you lift up into the sky, into the possibility. And exhale, hinge from your hips, fold forward, and bring your hands down onto the chair, the seat. Maybe rest your forehead on the seat and feel that support. Knees can bend or straighten. And then slowly inhale, press into hands as you lift up halfway. So there's a somewhat of a right angle with your torso and your legs. Exhale, fold. And then inhale, root down as you rise all the way to stand. Hands lift above the head. And exhale, hands to heart. We'll do that one more time. Inhale, circle arms up to ceiling. Press through feet. Really feel the legs active as you lengthen spine up. Try not to arch the spine, but keep the belly button pulled in. Protect the low back. As you exhale, fold. Maybe bring hands to the seat. Maybe bring forehead to the seat. And release. And as you fold, you might find that you need to adjust your feet. You might be a little too close, and this might just not feel good. The belly might be compressed, so you're more than welcome and invited to play with the stance so that it's the stance that works best for you and your body. Plant the hands, inhale, extend the spine forward, gazing forward. Exhale, release. Inhale, come all the way up to stand. And exhale, hands to heart. All right, so if you liked that, you can simply stay with that half salutation. I'm gonna add a few more things if that is of interest to you. Inhale, circle arms up. Exhale, hinge forward. This time, plant your hands about shoulders width apart, either on the chair seat or grab the arms. Step the right foot back in a lunge, and then step the left foot back into a plank pose. And I'm going to walk my feet in so that my shoulders are a little bit more over my wrists. And this is why I invited you to lock your wheels if you have a wheeled chair. So now we're in a plank pose. You can stay here or come forward on the toes. Bend the elbows as you lower the hips, and then roll the chest up into kind of an up dog cobra variation, keeping the toes tucked or keeping the toes lifted. And then on your exhale, push your hips back, plant the feet down into a variation of downward facing dog. So the arms are extended, the ears are between the elbows, spine is long, legs are long. And then with your next inhale, step your right foot forward, finding that lunge, and then your left foot forward. And then bring hands to heart. Notice the heat that might have built. And we'll do that one more time. Inhale. Exhale, fold. Hands come onto the seat or the arms so that they're about shoulders width distance. This time, step left foot back, lunge on the ball of your foot, and step the right foot back into plank, ball of foot. Supported plank pose. You can stay here or start to bend elbows, drop hips, lift chest up, and then exhale, hips push back, arms extend long in front of you. Maybe feet can come down to the mat. Downward facing dog. Take a breath Come back to that presence. And then inhale, step left foot forward, lunge, right foot forward, and come to stand, hands at heart. Maybe take a moment to close your eyes, check in with what is arising, and try to connect with whatever is arising. Beautiful. Now I'll invite you to step to the back of your chair. So let me pull my other prop in here. So this is the back of the chair. And grabbing the back of your chair, I'm going to face the camera, but you can also face the back of the chair. Grab the back of your chair with your right hand to start and bend your left knee. Turn your left knee out so your left ankle is resting on your right. Your left heel is resting on your right ankle, and your left hand can come to your hip. And start to walk the left foot up the leg into tree pose. So we did this in our last class. You can stay here on the calf, but as you have the chair for support, and I invite you to imagine that the chair is acting like community here, holding you up when you can't hold yourself up, giving you strength when you feel tapped out, giving you balance when you feel like you're just drifting. So we can explore this in tree pose. So you can stay here if this is feeling really solid and grounded for you. You can also maybe bring that foot up to the upper thigh, which normally I don't do because I feel unstable here, but with the support of the chair, I'm able to even close my eyes here and notice and really feel my right foot grounded, my right leg strong and balanced. Lovely. Wherever you are, turn your left knee forward and bring your left foot down to the mat. I'm actually gonna come over to this side. So then if you're facing the back of your chair, grab the back of your chair with your left hand. Root down into your left foot. As you come onto the ball of your right foot, turn the right knee out, right heel to left ankle, moving into tree pose on the opposite side. So you can walk the foot to the calf, or maybe again experiment with drawing that foot up to the inner thigh. And notice how this changes your experience in the pose when you have that stability. This isn't easier, this isn't cheating, this isn't yoga light. This is knowing what you need and asking for it and giving it and letting it be given to you. So if we were in a class in person together, what would happen is we would do this on our own, and then we would stand in a circle and have our arms supported by each other and move into tree pose as a community. And notice how even if one person starts to sway, the whole circle sways, so that one small motion affects the whole. But how much more strength we can draw from one another than we can even tap into on our own. Wonderful. Stay here for another breath. And then slowly release. We'll have one more standing pose. So facing the back of your chair, bring both hands to the back of your chair, butt shoulders width distance, and step your feet back. Feet are about hips width distance and toes facing forward, and you're at a slight angle here. On your exhale, start to hinge from your hips and lower your chest down so that your hips are over your ankles, your arms are extended as much as possible, your ears in between the elbows. So this is somewhat like the downward facing dog we just did earlier. And grounding into your left foot, slowly start to lift your right leg up into a variation of Virabhadrasana 3, Warrior 3. Push this chair up a little bit. Now this is a challenging pose. Requires strength and balance and focus. But when you're able to add the chair, you're able to access things that you might not have been able to think about without the chair. And slowly lower your right foot down, recalibrate if you need to Come up for a second. And then exhale, again, hinge from hips, fold back down, finding that right angle with your legs and your torso. Arms extended, grabbing the back of your chair. And then grounding into your right foot, slowly start to lift your left foot up and back. It doesn't have to lift all the way up. You can even keep the left toe gently grazed on the mat. But just that sense of movement and stability. What is arising? How can you remain present? Slowly lower your left foot down. Step your feet towards the chair. Inhale your arms up. And exhale, hands to heart. Take a moment here in Tadasana, mountain pose. And ask for direction or guidance from divine mystery, from God, from spirit, of how to proceed with the rest of your day in the spirit of presence and connection. What do you want to ask for? Holding that in your heart, release your hands. And then come back to the front of your chair. For our final resting pose, so I'll invite you all to come down to the mat or to the floor. And our Shavasana, our final pose today, will be in a variation of legs up the wall. If you have a wall, you can bring your legs up the wall. But I'll also invite you to just bring your legs onto your chair. And your bottom can be as close or as far away to the chair as possible. You might even want to extend your arms out to the sides. But the act of elevating your legs, so this is a gentle inversion. Technically, your heart is over your head, and you're sort of upside down. But the act of bringing your legs up, elevating what is normally being pulled down by gravity, has a really profound effect on the body. And certainly physically can really help with low back tightness or soreness. And then here you can widen your feet, you can bring the legs close together. You might even want to bring the soles of feet together and open the knees into a supported Baddha Konasana. And once you're able to access a place of ease and rest, I invite you to close your eyes and notice your breath. Notice how you're feeling. Notice your energy. We'll be here for a time. As we serve others, we are working on ourselves. Every act, every word, every gesture of genuine compassion naturally nourishes our own hearts as well. It is not a question of who is healed first. When we attend to ourselves with compassion and mercy, more healing is made available for others. And when we serve others with an open and generous heart, great healing comes to us. I invite you to start deepening your breath, perhaps fluttering your eyes, opening and closing your hands, maybe gently opening and closing your toes. And if you're supported by a chair, perhaps gently push the chair away from you so that your feet can come to the floor. And then roll onto one side in the position of rebirth, of renewal. And as you're ready, you can come to a seat on your mat. Take a moment or two to just check in with yourself and inquire how you're feeling, comparing the you 40 minutes ago to the you now. Noting any words or images that have come to your mind. And then when you're ready, we'll see you soon in our small groups. Thank you.